Donna says he was awesome communicating at the beginning. Once I told him how I felt about him, he is slowly veering off. Why? Well, it depends on what you said about. Yeah, so women and men, actually, men do this exact same thing. Is a lot of people out there have this kind of verbiage, right? And it's like how I feel about you verbiage. And what it usually means is that they've like vomited, these over emotional, over attachment feelings. And so think about this for a second. If you're like really into somebody, or let's say that you're kind of into somebody and they're really into you, right? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean when somebody looks at you and they're like, oh my God, you're just the angel of all angels and you're just so amazing and wonderful. And I love everything about you. And you're like, yeah, I'm kind of okay about you, right? What does that mean? It means that you or that person that really likes them a lot overvalues them, right? And the other person's not sure about it yet. And if you've ever been in the situation where you're not sure about some guy and he's like certain that you're the one, unless you're coming from kind of a desperate place where you're like, oh, I just need some love and affection, then you're probably going to get turned off by it and weirded out by it and freaked out about it and being like, well, this is too much, way too quick, all that kind of stuff. And you're probably pushing them away until eventually they're like, but we belong together, right? And you're like, oh God, and you run off, right? And so that's why you don't want to like tell a guy how much you just think that he's just so amazing and awesome and the perfect match and all that kind of stuff right at the beginning, unless you can tell that he's obviously feeling the same way, and it's better that he says it to you before you say it to him, or that you force frame it onto him. And I talk about that, I believe, in the Love Frames Toolkit. But so you want, like I was talking about before, you want to mirror a guy, right? If he's like not telling you all these things, you don't want to tell him all those things either. That doesn't help your case. It's like something that they have in romance movies where you like, there's this one person and they're not sure about the other person. And so that person runs over to them and they're like, I think you're so amazing and awesome and wonderful. And I just love you. So you can't ever leave me. Right. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess that's right. I'll be that way too, right? And then they fall in love and all happily ever after. But that's not how things work in the real world, right? It almost never happens that way in the real world because it's kind of weird, right? It's this weird thing that happens. And so instead, you want to just mirror, right? You just want to mirror what's going on with him, right? If he's hot, you can be hot. If he's cold, you can be cold. And when you do that, you don't end up like, if he's like not super overly like, oh, you're so amazing, I love everything about you, right? You don't want to be that way about him either, right? You don't want to be that way. And that's one of the reasons why I talk about abundance dating,